Viewer discretion is advised.
But I'm not big on alcohol anyways.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Three Geeks Flix. Joining me as always is the man that likes to drink his wine. If you want to know what that is, check it out in the outtakes. The Muse, Justin Kyle. Say hello everyone, Justin.
Hello everyone.
Yes, and of course I'm the Tech Mitchell Wright. We're back, and we've got a little different episode here for you today. There's a few things we want to talk about that have been kind of going around. The Muse ran across some big news for DC, and we've also got a Bright review and some news about Bright. So to start it off, as I always do, I'm going to make the Muse go first. So Justin, give it to me. What you got? Sorry, let's put a burp on that.
Okay, so I don't know, and I saw his name earlier, the guy that's going to replace Kevin Tsujihara. But in short, and I don't know a lot about him too, I'd have to actually look him up. But in short...
I'm doing it.
Okay, so Warner Brothers kind of is cleaning house with their staff, including the actual president of the studio. Yeah. Over the DC properties anyways. Mm-hmm. And it's just like Marvel. I mean, obviously Disney owns Marvel, but Marvel is their own studios. Kevin Feige is the president over Marvel Studios. They're essentially a subsidiary company of Disney. It's the same thing with Warner Brothers in DC. But then, a couple of months ago it came out that a lot of the upper executives at Warner Brothers didn't make what was overall best decision for the studio because essentially there is a huge merger between Warner Brothers and AT&T, and apparently if they would have had to push the Justice League back, which they should have done in hindsight, especially with the tragedy that happened and trying to rush everything effects-wise and the director-wise, if they couldn't have got it out this year, they wouldn't have got their bonuses. And yeah. This go ahead.
Here's the thing. Walter Hamada is who's taking over. Previously served for a decade as a production executive at New Line Cinemas. All of us in the day can remember New Line Cinemas. They're a division of Warner Brothers. He helped shepherd horror films as It, The Gallows, The Conjuring to cinemas. He's got a good relationship with director James Wan, who's doing Aquaman. He helped expand the Conjuring universe, movies such as Annabelle. So the guy's got chops. The guy's got clout.
So, without ranting again, I'm glad because especially considering Justice League should have been at least tied for the best comic book movie of all time. That's what it should have been. And arguably
should have been. Yes, should have been.
That's correct. It opened, financially speaking, and I say that just because I'm looking at this as a studio. Doctor Strange made more money than Justice League. That's one character.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's the sad truth.
Yeah. In fact, it made. I think it took it 2 or 3 weeks to make as much money as the Avengers made in its first weekend, or something crazy like that. And I'm at this point, especially, and this came out after the executive stuff, like Tsujihara and some of the other upper executives.
Yeah.
They rushed it essentially to get their bonuses. And then I was immediately thinking, this is what you get.
Yeah.
This is what you get, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the love of money comes a price.
And it's not, a lot of things. That was the tip of the iceberg as far as, in my opinion, and I've already ranted about this, I don't know how many times to you and to you guys watching, the reactionary and terrible decisions that the Warner Brothers has made. It's not the director's fault. It's not the actor's fault. It's the studio's fault.
There's a litany of sins they've committed, yeah.
So this is what, now, I am glad, because I think the absolute worst thing they could have done is to reboot the entire thing.
Yeah, or just to shut it down altogether, yeah.
Right. That I think that would be the most terrible thing. But yeah, I mean, I am glad they're making a change now, and I think they're doing it in the right direction. They're cleaning house with the people that actually have the power to do this. I applaud them for that. I don't know a lot about the guy. I mean, obviously, besides the credits you named off, which, hey, you know what? All those things, even though they're horror, which is another genre, those are grade A quality films, in my opinion.
Yes, I'll give you that all day long. And I'm not a big horror person, but those carry their weight. They've got clout, and so that tells me he's got the ability, he's got the clout, he's got the eye to see these things. Let's just hope, though, it's not too little, too late.
Well, the fact that he specializes in another genre altogether, that just kind of, in a way, it adds to the flavor. It makes it more mysterious. It says, how is this going to affect it as far as tone goes? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, James Wan and him work together, and James Wan is pretty much the modern-day Kubrick as far as horror goes, right? He reinvented that a lot. Yeah. Some say the entire genre. He gave a lot to the entire horror genre. So if this guy is obviously close to James Wan, they work together. Hey, you know what? I just see the best reference you could possibly have.
Yeah, and it's hopefully good things to come out of this, man. Just I hope it's not too little, too late. I hope that there is not a huge sophomore slump. I really want to see Aquaman do well. I would really like to see these progress and be able to carry their weight on their own than have to rely on other films coming in to pull them back up. I think Wonder Woman stands by itself. Man of Steel stands by itself. Right. But the rest of the films right now are pretty weak, and those two alone can't carry the whole universe.
Now, imagine this. Let's say that the Justice League universe, the DC universe, has an epic turnaround, mm-hmm. and it does, overall, as a consolidated universe and individual movies, at least come to par as far as the level of quality of Marvel, which you can't help but to make comparisons, I think, these days, regardless of your loyalty is. I think it's pretty clear that Marvel's killing it. And I'm speaking stats and numbers.
Yeah, all around. Across the board, baby.
Right. So let's say they can match that. At least match it.
Okay. Fair enough.
What do you think is going to be the credit of this guy? How much of a hero do you think he's going to be as far as, Kevin Feige started the universe, right? This guy brought it back like the phoenix from the dead, if he can pull it off.
That's if he can pull it off. It's either going to go one way. It's going to stay in the gutter. I don't think it can limp along because that's what it's been doing. Or he's going to, like you said, a phoenix from the ashes. So there's really only one or two ways that I see this going. That it fails miserably and it ends up getting shut down, which will suck because we won't have closure. And then we'll have all these great, actors and actresses that could have brought something wonderful to us that was just ruined by a greedy studio. Or he'll hold his ground, he'll take his time, and he will, stoke the fire yet again. So we'll see.
We can only hope. If he did do that, let's just say he pulled it off. I think that is just as admirable, if not more so in certain light, as starting it from scratch. In other words, if you look at what Kevin Feige did in his vision, I think that just comparable as that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can only hope, folks. We can only hope. Moving along. Bright. Now, I know it's been out a little while. We've seen it. We've watched it. And there's been some news that's dropped about it. But first, the film itself. And I look to you, Muse. And I've heard some mixed feelings, either one way or another. I've heard some people loved it, some people weren't so great on it. What's your take?
It was fine, I guess. It was okay. It wasn't anything special. I think it as a concept, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The concept was great.
The concept was great. I wish they would have, in hindsight, I kind of wish, and I know his signature is like L.A. Cops, but I kind of wish someone besides David Ayer would have directed it, because I don't think he's grown or evolved as a filmmaker since the last 10 years, probably. honestly.
Okay.
What they did, it was cool. Again, Will Smith. I love Will Smith. I always will probably. I thought in some elements that they failed miserably. Like I thought the comedy was pretty terrible.
Okay.
I thought the makeup was good. The special effects were okay. Meh for the budget.
I didn't have any problem with special effects.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
Those were better special effects than they used at the end of Suicide Squad.
Absolutely. Yep. But again, it was okay. I mean, if we're doing a rating, I'd probably give it like 7, maybe 7.
I enjoyed it. You can definitely tell it was an A film. If you've seen Suicide Squad, it had a lot of the same lighting and feel to it in some areas. Quite frankly, if you know what I mean, especially in the city at night, there were telltale signs that you could definitely tell it was Air. Of course, like you said, L.A. Cops. It's kind of his wheelhouse, his comfort zone.
Right.
The concept I loved. I absolutely love the concept. And as far as the acting, I feel like everybody did a great job acting. I didn't have a problem with a lot of the comedy. There were certain parts to where they could have cut it short and not played on it so much. The delivery, I understand the orcs are not real funny people and kind of flat, but they could have played the straight man part. They could have done those a little better with some of the delivery and everything as far as that goes. Will Smith was great. I enjoyed his part. Joel Edgerton, other than that, he was good. He was good. I enjoyed his role. Everybody else was pretty solid all the way around. I do think it was a very original idea that I enjoyed. Yeah. And I would probably I'd at least give it an 8.
Okay.
I'd at least give it an 8. I know I'm generally the easier of the two of us, the not so critical, but then again, that's why you have two of us.
All right.
So, given that, what you got?
Well, I was just going to say, for the people that I could easily see it developing a cult following at the same time.
Yeah.
I could easily see this being exactly people's cup of teas. It's a very select group who I don't think it's for the majority, but I can see for the people, the minority. I can honestly understand why people would love this film a lot. It's just not particularly my cup of tea, and I think it would have been better if they would have gotten, I don't know, maybe just a little bit more seasoned director. Because David Ayers, he's only done maybe 4 or 5 films, and I just don't think he's involved as much as other directors would.
Okay. So given all what you just told me right there, especially, what's your thoughts on the fact that they've already confirmed from Netflix that there will be a sequel to Bright, and that Joel Edgerton and Will Smith are supposedly going to return?
Yeah, I'm glad that they are returning. I think a lot of my feeling on it is going to depend on who the director is. I want to say that Max Landis had pretty much, because he had been on record saying he wants this to be his Star Wars. As far as the universe, and he created backstories of the history of how things came to be, like a 40 or 50-page manifesto of the history of this universe. And I do love Max as a writer. I think he's pretty much one of the most prolific screenwriters.
Right.
He knows his stuff. He is a certified geek and fanboy in every aspect of the word. I think right now, this has a lot more potential as a universe. So I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And I know it got terrible critical rating, which you can take that however you want. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a failure.
No.
But I think it did pretty good for Netflix. So, and I think they had always started for this being a franchise as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? There's been plenty of movies that critics have trashed and haven't liked that the fans have enjoyed. And it really, all it boils down to is what is your fan base like? What's your response from your fan base? Because, you know, we can sit here all day long, people, and tell you how we think, and if we don't like something or something sucks, like we sit there and we dog, you know, Justice League, and we dog Batman vs. Superman, and we dog Suicide Squad. There's other people out there that, you know, the fan base that absolutely enjoyed it and loved it. And, I mean, that's fine. That's great and everything. But really what it boils down to is I think they've got a neat concept here. They've got a pretty sweet concept. And they need to carry on with that because, like you said, as a universe, this has kind of a potential of being your more modern-day, edgier, kind of Lord of the Rings-esque Training Day kind of feel to it. So I'm interested to see more. You know, one of the things I wanted to bring up, a friend of ours, Austin over at the Vapor Lounge here at Juicy's and Enid that I go and hang out with. We're going to do a remote there soon. He brought up a thing that, Will Smith, before they announced it, Will Smith doesn't generally do sequels. And he said that, in an interview, Will Smith said he doesn't do sequels, but somebody brought up Men in Black, and he goes, well, that was just good business. Well, apparently there must be good business behind this if he's going to make an appearance or he's going to return in any way. I mean, I know they're going to have to make it worth his time and money, but what do you think of that?
Well, I guess Bad Boys 2 was good business too, because that was also a sequel.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. There's very few movies that he's returned in, and it's Bad Boys and Men in Black, and I think that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think Bad Boys 2 is one of the best action films of all time. That's what I think of that. I'm being dead serious when I say that. Yeah. No, I mean, I respect people. I respect people like that. Again, I'm all down for this. I think a lot of and you also got to keep in mind, when I say the comedies, one of the aspects that didn't work, a lot of that comes down to presentation, which equates to the director.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. So look at some of the humor in Suicide Squad. Wasn't exactly spot on either, was it? I mean, visually, he's great. David Ayer is great visually. Action, solid. His character development,
and that's maybe where they need to bring somebody in to help give him a shot in the arm and kind of, no total control, but you need help on this. And, maybe that's something they can do, and if they watch this show, they'll figure out that's the way to fix everything. We fixed it for you. You're welcome, Netflix.
Yeah,
you're welcome, David Ayer.
You were welcome. In fact, we could probably, if we wanted to, list about 4 or 5 directors or partners that could knock this out of the park and get everyone excited.
Okay.
For real.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're doing it.
Exactly.
I see the potential. I want more of it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you here today. So check us out on Facebook, 3 Geeks Flix. Give us a like, comment, holler, troll us. You don't do Facebook? We've got Twitter. It's at the number 3 Geeks Flix. Flix is, of course, spelled Flix. So give us a follow there. Give us a holler there. Troll there. Get involved. You are the third geek. You're on YouTube. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Get involved. Be that third geek. Like I said, we're going to go out and we're going to do a remote from Juicy's Vapor Lounge with Austin and the gang out there here soon. Austin also has said that he would enjoy the possibility of being on a show. I said, great. I didn't clear it by the muse, but who says I have to, because, hell, we have his family on, and he sits and drinks wine during the show. Oh, God. And that's all you've got. Anyways, appreciate y'all sticking around, and stay tuned to the glow of those monitors, because we're going to catch you next time. Good night.
What's it called when you drink something tart? It's tart or word?
It is.
What does that mean? It's like, it's not really sour, but it's just like...
It's a little sweet, but a little bitter. It's got a little zing on the end of it. I don't know.
It makes your face do funny faces.
I mean, we're talking about your face, so...
He enjoys a nice glass of a Welch's Concord grape juice. I don't even know.
This is wine.
That's wine?
Yeah. I'm an adult.
No, it's not. It's not fermented. There's no alcohol in that. I could tell that's not wine. Don't lie to me.
Let me tell you something.
You go right ahead.
I'm a man. You know what's interesting? I told you I went to church with my grandma for Christmas. Did I tell you that? No? I took my grandma to church for Christmas. Aww. Anyways.
Aww, and you didn't catch fire.
They did the communion, I had the bread. Dude, they f***ing serve wine for it's like I used to think it was grape juice. It's wine. It's like wine.
Wine?
Yeah.
Never heard of wine. I guess that's the real wine. We've all been doing it wrong. We've just had wine. Now they've
It's
got
the kind
wine.
of wine that adults drink, like what I'm drinking right now.
It's not wine. Quit trying to think you're cool. This is not some kind of uppity show, okay?
That is the best wine I've ever had in my life.
God, oh, here we go. Something new.
It's Moscato. I'm so drunk right now from drinking that wine.
Okay. I'm just kind of thinking it all through my head here real quick. While you enjoy your wine.
Is tart the right word I'm thinking of? Like when you, I guess it's when you eat like the first bite of a sour apple.
It's
just
tart.
Like,
yes.
Tart?
Tart. T-A-R-T. Tart. Yes.
Okay.
That's a word.
That's correct. Okay.
Tomorrow we'll talk about the letter Q.
This wine is tart. I thought of that word. I just had to have you confirm it, but I thought of it. Because I'm a man, lady.
Just keep telling yourself that. I've got episodes where you Hey, I've got episodes where you cried to your mom.
I'm a man who can't hold his wine coolers. That's not fair.
You're the one that laughed. Drinking on the show! For shame!
I'm drinking wine.
Wine.
Because hey, guess what?
What?
Guess what? I sleep in a big boy bed. Yeah, it has wheels. It has wheels.
What?
It's a race car bed.
Oh my god.
My dad goes to work.